time to once again talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a team in particular that we love to talk about on this channel. And Nick, this is a team that we think has a lot of potential. There's a lot of things going good for the Steelers, and they just might not be living up to that potential. And we're going to highlight some of that stuff today in this very interesting story that we have. But Nick, speaking of potential, this roster has a lot of potential. There's a lot of great players on the defensive side of the ball. There's a lot of young, nice-looking players on the offensive side of the ball. But there might be a couple of spots that they're lacking, a couple of things that could really bolster this roster. And we want the Pittsburgh Steelers fans in the comments below to let us know if you could pick 3 players from any other NFL team to add to this current Pittsburgh Steelers roster, 3 current players, who would you add to this roster to make it the perfect Steelers roster? Let us know in the comments below. But Nick, what do you got on the Steelers?
Yeah, so the Steelers team, you brought up their defense, right? They've got a lot of great players. They're getting healthier there. TJ Watt's back, huge boost there. But on offense, I think they've got the playmakers, right? And I'm not alone in thinking that. Everyone knows George Pickens is a dude. Deontay Johnson is a very nice receiver. Najee Harris is a good running back, can do a lot of really nice things. Freiermuth is a solid tight end. And even Kenny Pickett coming out of Pitt, he was basically deemed Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow-esque, right? That was kind of the comp. Could make all the throws, very experienced, grown up, played an NFL style offense, so on and so forth. He seemed to be a guy ready-made to come to the NFL and make a big impact. But his numbers and his production, both Pickett and Pickens, for his credit, have not really matched up to that. And there's a lot of reasons why, but clearly all the Steelers fans know there's really one big reason why everyone's blaming Matt Canada. And at first glance, you watch the games and you come to that conclusion really quickly. But I want to take a deeper look at the numbers and realize, is it really Canada? And so when you look at the Steelers offense, both Pickett and Trubisky, right, you can kind of combine them both here. The most common depth of target, when we mean by depth of target, how far past the line of scrimmage a pass is attempted, is 4 yards. Think about that for a second, Miles. The depth of target that is attempted the most in the Steelers offense is 4 yards. Normally, you see that kind of thing with offenses that don't have playmakers, don't have weapons, right? You go back to the pre-Tyreek Hill Tua days, and that's kind of the comp I want to show up here. That was the kind of offense, very dink and dunk. Everyone said Tua was dinking and dunking. You add in Tyreek Hill, the big play weapon, suddenly they're an explosive offense. And I kind of compared Tua's stats before they got Tyreek Hill, and Tua's average depth of target in 2021 was 7.4. You throw in Tyreek Hill, it's 9.5. Makes a big difference there. You look at Kenny Pickett this year, his average depth of target is 7.6. So right at the same level Tua is. Okay, that kind of makes sense. So all the Steelers need to add then is a couple key playmakers on the outside. But they have them. They have George Pickens. They have Johnson. They have the guys, right? So at this point, it becomes clear. It's not like they can come in. It's not like Tolbert or anybody on this GM or the coaching side can bring in a young athletic receiver to kind of, be what Tua, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle did for Tua. They already have those guys for Pickett, right? It's not like they don't have a veteran savvy quarterback who can make all the throws. Pickett came out of college. He was a veteran savvy guy. They got the guy. They did it with Trubisky too before Pickett. It still wasn't working out. So they tried it with 2 guys. Listen, we bury Matt Canada a lot, and everybody's on that train. I think it's pretty clear. Nobody wants Matt Canada there. But at a certain point, there really is no defense. Because when your most attempted pass downfield is 4 yards, you are just really, really struggling as an offense. And you see this, right? You see Deontay Johnson running backwards, Najee Harris jinking, trying to get 30 yards when a 5-yard first down is there. Players don't know what to do in this offense because they're just struggling to get anything downfield. They have the perfect environment in terms of playmakers, young quarterback. They have everything that you should see. It's what you're seeing in Miami right now. They're not getting it done, and it's all goes back to Matt Canada. I think at a certain point, we talk about firing Matt Canada or moving on, but it's getting ridiculous because it's not just the eye test now, it's the advanced analytics. It just looks really, really bad.
Yeah, Nick, and I really love the Tua Tyreek Hill comparison. You show Tua gets Tyreek Hill, an elite playmaker. His yards per average go up through the roof. But Nick, who else did Tua get that season? The young play calling genius Mike McDaniel.
Oh yeah.
That just shows there's more to the equation. If you have the playmaker and the play caller who are good, it's gonna produce results. Well, Pickett has the playmakers. He just doesn't have the play caller. And I think that's the difference there. If they can find a young, excellent play caller, bring them in, someone who's very innovative, and don't even have to really be that innovative. You just can't be, short dink dunk plays. I remember the next gen stat passing charts from the beginning of the season. Everything was down the lines, 10 yards and in. No passes really downfield, nothing even really in the middle of the field. The Steelers' offense was very vanilla, very basic, and they weren't doing anything exciting. And I think it's evolved a little bit, but that's just because it has to. I think Matt Canada really feels like his job is on the line because it is and it should be. But Nick, it's really just at this point, it's just frustrating. It's frustrating.
It's bizarre, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what do you? It's weird. I mean,
What are they trying to prove?
Well, it's one of those things. We've seen play callers and offensive coordinators change their schemes dramatically when they're faced with, the reality of their personnel and their situation. You brought up Mike McDaniel with the Dolphins, right? He was an under center guy. That's what, coming from that Kyle Shanahan tree, that's what you do. You do the motions under center, the bootlegs off of it. Tua's a shotgun guy. So what does he do? He goes full on shotgun. We see this all the time with play callers. They tweak their scheme to match their personnel. I guess Matt Canada may doesn't even have a really good scheme, so maybe you can't really tweak it to match his personnel. I don't know, but it's just bizarre. It's weird to see an NFL offensive coordinator clearly have his scheme and his plan not work, have quality personnel, and refuse to make any adjustments whatsoever to match that personnel. Right, because the trend with the Steelers, when I talk about average depth of target and things like that, it's not like it's oscillating, right, where it's really high one week, really low the next week, and it kind of averages out at that really low number. It's steady, right, flat line, right around that 4 yards. Every game, it stays at that level. The volume just stays the same. It is just extremely bizarre, and it's clearly not working. They're not scoring points. They're not winning enough games, even though they won last week against the New Orleans Saints. Great win for them, mainly defensive, but still. It seems bizarre to me. I really don't know how much longer this can go on. I know this is a Steelers organization that doesn't fire or remove coaches mid-season, but if the Steelers want to, work on building Pickett, if they want to work on building Pickens, if they want to build to the future, or maybe try and turn the season around because they have the schedule coming up in front of them to potentially make a little bit of a push, they have to do something. Because this is just like you said, whether it's frustrating or bizarre, this just isn't working, and it just doesn't make any sense at all.